All right, thanks, guys. We are once again 2-0 in our last two Underdog tier membership plays on patreon.com/Brock Page. And the good news is this: we have another Underdog tier package play that's going off today. And for those who don't know, my Patreon page is a website that I operate that gives you daily premium sports picks beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We'll bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. You can cancel at any time, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at some Russian Liga Pro table tennis action. And we're going to start with Stan Bykov squaring off against Andrei Titov, 5:30 p.m. Eastern start time. Titov's won 3 out of his last 4 matches, including a 3-0 shutout to Alex Petrov in his last contest. He also defeated his opponent here today, Stan Bykov, in a very competitive matchup, 3-2 in their last head-to-head meeting. And speaking of Bykov, he's ice cold right now, middle of a 4-match skid, and also dropped 6 out of his last 7. He was chopped down by the likes of Ilyukin, Petrov, and Titov, just to name a few. Doesn't look too appetizing for Bykov backers in this spot here. Give me Alex Petrov winning that one straight up for some moneyline cash. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's Russian Liga Pro table tennis action. Happy Friday to you. The weekend is finally here. Now, before we go ahead and move on with the program, I just want to quickly remind you, once again, to check me out on that Patreon website, and that's patreon.com/Brock Page, where, once again, we are 2-0 in our last 2 Underdog tier membership plays on that website. We're also 19-10 in our last 29 crowd pleaser teasers as well. That's a very good package for us right now. We do daily premium sports picks on that website, beginning at the very generous price of just $1.99 through the end of the month. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. And currently, we have well over 675 members active and signed up on that page right now. Now, you might be wondering, why would all those folks sign up to receive Patreon picks where they can get them here for free on YouTube? And that's certainly a great point, a great concern. But there is a big problem with me handicapping every single game that is currently on the board, side and total. And the problem is this: if you were going to go ahead and bet every single game that is on the slate that I put out here on YouTube, side and total, you are guaranteeing yourself failure. And I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. If you're going to go ahead and bet every single game that is on the board with your hard-earned money day in and day out, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. They have a whole lot more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that kind of action. And most important, guys, the math becomes aggressively against you the more and more games you play like that. So what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you. I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage picks, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current Patreon record is a whole lot better than it is here on YouTube, handicapping every single game that's on the board, side and total, every sport. So just keep that in mind. And here's the good news as well. If you want to go ahead and check out my current Patreon record, you can actually do that for free right now. It's located right on that Patreon homepage. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. I'll also include a link in the comment section below as well. And once again, that is patreon.com/Brock Page. And without any further ado, let's do away with the commercial. Let's go ahead and dive right back into some more free lines of personal leads right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Stan Bykov right back on the table, this time taking on Yevgeny Ilyukin, 6 p.m. start time. Ilyukin's really struggled recently, dropping 6 out of his last 8, including 2 devastating shutout losses during that stretch to Bykov and Pavlenko. Meanwhile, Bykov's last 2 victories on his side of things were at the expense of Yevgeny Ilyukin, including a 3-0 shutout win. This has all the makings of a very competitive matchup here. Give me Stan Bykov winning this one outright in a close one. Next contest, it is going to be Dmitry Kolesnikov squaring off against Yaroslav Troyanov, 6 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, Yarrow dropped 6 out of his last 8, including 3 embarrassing shutout losses during that span. Now, more specifically, he was blown out by Kolesnikov 3-0 during that streak of defeats. And speaking of Dmitry on the other side, he's won 3 out of his last 6, including a shutout victory 3-0 against Yarrow Troyanov during that span. He also defeated Nikita Lyfenko during that span as well. I'm going to lean toward Dmitry in that spot there, but this should actually be a highly competitive contest here. So keep your eyes peeled on this one, but overall, give me Dmitry Kolesnikov getting the job done in a close one. Next matchup, it is going to be Georgy Vladimirovich Vaknin taking on Andrei Ovechnikov, 6 p.m. start time. Ovechnikov is playing some really bad table tennis right now, loser of his last 5 straight. Ovechnikov was also shut out in 3 out of those 5 losses as well. Andrei's really struggled with Georgy as of late as well, losing his last 3 straight head-to-head meetings with Georgy, with 2 out of those 3 coming by way of shutout. And of course, speaking of Georgy on the other side, he's won his last 2 straight, and he's also won 3 out of his last 4 as well. In addition to beating Ovechnikov twice during that span, he also beat Shirokov in convincing fashion, 3-1. Looks like a pretty good spot for Vaknin backers here. Give me Georgy Vladimirovich Vaknin winning that one outright for some money line cash. All right, next contest, it is going to be Alex Gribkov squaring off against Nikita Lyfenko, 3:30 p.m. start time. Now, Lyfenko is right in the middle of a 3-match losing streak, while also dropping 7 out of his last 8. He was shut out by Yanishev twice during that stretch. He also dropped his last 2 straight head-to-head meetings with Gribkov. And speaking of Alex, he's actually playing on a very, very high level right now, winning 5 out of his last 6, with shutout victories in 2 out of those 5 wins. Now, he beat both Yanishev and Troyanov 3-0 during those contests. Alex also garnered himself marquee wins over Kolesnikov and Lyfenko during that span of matches as well. I'm going to lean toward Gribkov in this spot here. Give me Alex Gribkov winning this one straight up. All right, I'm going to slide to my next battle, and that's going to be Roman Pavlenko facing off against Andrei Titov in a 6:30 p.m. start time. Titov struggled just a little bit as of late, victorious in just 3 out of his last 8. He was also shut out in 2 out of those 5 losses, including outright defeats at the hands of Alex Petrov, Stan Bykov, and Roman Pavlenko. And speaking of Pavlenko, he beat Titov handily 3-1 in that very matchup. Roman's also in the middle of a 4-match win streak where he beat Petrov twice, Yevgeny Ilyukin, and Stan Bykov during that stretch. Now, even more impressive, Roman's won 7 out of his last 8 matches as well. I really like Pavlenko in this spot here. Give me Roman Pavlenko getting the job done in impressive fashion. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. Got to give a shout out to Lucas Borgia. Shout out to Dollar Bills, Buddy Sweeney, Victor Garcia Chagas, Zymer Tracks. Shout out to Going Crazy. Also got to give a shout out to Stephen Lewis, Bobby Schroeder, and JDog327. And a couple more guys we want to give a shout out here too. Got to give a shout out to Jesus Karakamunda. Shout out to William Peterson. And last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to Brandon Saunders. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I said it before, I'll say it again. We're currently 2-0 in our last 2 Underdog tier package plays on that website. Now, I know a lot of folks are under the impression that sports are gone right now. I hear that a lot lately, and that couldn't be further from the truth. There are sports going on all across the globe right now. The only problem with that is our major U.S., American sports aren't obviously operating right now, and that seems to be what everybody's focused on. But guys, if you have a computer, if you have access to a sportsbook app, there are plenty of contests and matches in sports to bet on. And if you want to find out what you can bet on, just continue to watch me here every day on Brock Page Productions here on YouTube. But anyway, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.